In the history of Europe, there are horses famous for their speed, their strength, or their beauty. But there is one small chestnut mare whose fame rests entirely on the destiny she shared with a nation. For over a century, the Polish people lived without a country, partitioned and erased from the map by powerful empires. Then came Józef Piłsudski, the man who would resurrect Poland and become its marshal. And by his side, every step of the way, rode Kasztanka. She was the unassuming chestnut mare who carried Piłsudski into the heart of the First World War. She endured the grueling marches of the Polish legions, the bitter cold of the Carpathians, and the fire of a dozen battles. Yet her fame is not just for her endurance, but for the profound, almost tender relationship she shared with the stoic, iron-willed general. She was more than a horse. She was a symbol, a living, breathing promise of Polish freedom. This is the story of Kasztanka, the horse that rode into legend and carried a nation toward its independence. To understand Kasztanka, we must first understand the man and the mission. In 1914, Poland did not exist as an independent state. It was divided between the Russian, German, and Austro-Hungarian empires. Piłsudski's dream was to use the coming World War, the clash of the partitioning powers, as the catalyst for national freedom. Piłsudski, a revolutionary and socialist-turned-military strategist, believed that Poland's independence would be won by Polish blood, not gifted by foreign powers. He formed the Polish legions, fighting initially alongside the Austro-Hungarian army against Russia. On August 6, 1914, Piłsudski led his first cavalry unit, the legendary 1st Cadre Company, out of occupied Polish territory. This moment, known as the start of the legions, is foundational to the Kasztanka story. Kasztanka was acquired just before this historic march near Krakow. She was a 5-year-old chestnut mare, likely of a smaller local breed known for toughness and agility, but unremarkable in appearance. What set her apart was her immediate bond with Piłsudski. Unlike the powerful, standardized war horses of other European militaries, Kasztanka was small, fast, and intensely devoted to her rider. Piłsudski, known for his reserved and intensely serious nature, showed a genuine, quiet affection for the mare. This was not a general treating a mount as a piece of equipment. It was a partnership of equals in adversity. The life of the Polish legions, and consequently Kasztanka's, was one of grinding, constant hardship, far removed from the glory of parade ground. The fighting on the Eastern Front was characterized by deep trenches, vast distances, and brutal logistics. Kasztanka was constantly in motion, enduring the long, freezing marches of the Carpathian campaigns and the heavy, saturated mud of Galicia. The key to her survival was her temperament and endurance. Piłsudski was a leader who was always present, always near the front. Kasztanka had to stand steady under the constant concussive roar of artillery fire, the frantic chaos of cavalry skirmishes, and the long, silent hours of waiting. She never wavered. Piłsudski, a fastidious man, insisted that Kasztanka be easily recognizable. She was a light chestnut, with 2 prominent white socks on her hind legs. This distinct appearance meant she was instantly identifiable as the commander's mount. This visibility was a double-edged sword. It provided inspiration and certainty to his troops. The marshal is here. But it also made her, and by extension Piłsudski, a prime target for enemy snipers and artillery observers. There are numerous accounts from legionnaires describing Kasztanka's peculiar loyalty. She would only allow Piłsudski to ride her, often shying violently away from other riders, and she would follow the marshal through camp even when untethered. This personal bond became a powerful, humanizing element to Piłsudski's mythos. In 1917, the political situation drastically changed. Piłsudski, refusing to swear allegiance to the German-controlled government, was arrested and imprisoned in Magdeburg Fortress. This moment, the oath crisis, marked a turning point in the Kasztanka story. When Piłsudski was jailed, Kasztanka was moved to a series of stables, including those in Warsaw. For over a year, she was separated from her beloved writer. The mare's intense loyalty meant she suffered physically and emotionally during this period, often refusing to settle or accept new handlers. Meanwhile, the image of Kasztanka, the loyal horse waiting for its leader, became a potent cultural symbol for the struggling Polish independence movement. Artists created paintings and postcards depicting her, a silent representation of the hope that Piłsudski would return and lead the nation to freedom. In November 1918, Germany collapsed. Piłsudski was released, and Poland was declared an independent republic. His return to Warsaw and subsequent assumption of supreme military command was one of the most emotional moments in modern Polish history. One of Piłsudski's first acts was to reunite with Kasztanka. The profound bond was instantly reignited. Kasztanka had literally carried the hopes of the Polish legions, and now she would carry the leader of the newly reborn nation. With independence secured, Kasztanka transitioned from a warhorse of the trenches to the national symbol of a free Poland. Kasztanka became Piłsudski's mount for all official ceremonies and parades throughout the 1920s. She was instantly recognizable to the Polish public. But she retained her unique devotion. Witnesses often recounted how she remained skittish and nervous in the presence of crowds and noise, yet would calm instantly the moment Piłsudski mounted her. The relationship wasn't just physical, it was an emotional lifeline for both horse and rider. Kasztanka's war service was not over. In 1920, Poland faced an existential threat, the invading Soviet Red Army. The decisive Battle of Warsaw, the miracle on the Vistula, saw Piłsudski personally direct operations, often riding Kasztanka to survey the front lines. Though the nature of her service was more strategic than tactical, she was once again present on the fields where Poland fought for its very survival. Her endurance and courage were still critical, allowing Piłsudski the mobility he needed to orchestrate the defense that famously turned the tide of the Soviet-Polish War. The long, grueling years of campaigning had taken their toll. Though the marshal retained his devotion, Kasztanka was aging. In November 1927, while traveling by rail to a military review, Kasztanka sustained a critical injury. Reports suggest she slipped while being unloaded from the train in Minsk Mazowiecki. The injury was severe, likely affecting her spine or a crucial limb. She was transported to a nearby barracks for care, but the damage was irreparable. Despite the desperate efforts of veterinarians, Kasztanka's condition deteriorated rapidly. Piłsudski was devastated by the news. He sent his personal doctor to oversee her care, but it was too late. Kasztanka died on November 23, 1927. The death of the mare was treated with the solemnity of a national loss. Her remains were preserved. Her saddle, bridle, and tack were sent to Piłsudski's personal museum. In a powerful tribute to the unique bond they shared, Kasztanka's skin was preserved and mounted, kept for a time in the Cavalry Museum in Warsaw. This act, common for military heroes in that era, ensured that the physical presence of the mare, the embodiment of the struggle for independence, would not be forgotten. Kasztanka outlived her war service, enjoying a national decade of glory. She predeceased Piłsudski by 8 years. When the marshal himself died in 1935, his body was laid to rest with full state honors. The legacy of Kasztanka, however, remained directly tied to the Polish national identity. She represented the simplicity, the resilience, and the relentless courage of the Polish soldier. She was the loyal partner to the man who carried the heaviest burden in modern Polish history. Her image remains etched in Polish culture, in paintings, in poetry, and in museum exhibits. She is a reminder that the greatest stories of courage and devotion are often found in the most humble of creatures. The small chestnut mare, Kasztanka, was the horse that truly carried the hopes and freedom of the Polish nation. Thanks for riding this epic on Living Horse. If Kasztanka's tale moved you, like and comment your thoughts on historic horses, and subscribe for more. Also, check out some of our videos on your screen right now.